It's February 26, 2014. This is Arizona Mining Review, the online video magazine from the Arizona Geological Survey. I'm your host, Lee Allison, here in Tucson at the headquarters of the Arizona Geological Survey. Joining us, as usual, in our monthly broadcast is Niall Nemeth, the head of our Economic Geology section based in Phoenix. Welcome, Niall.
Thanks, Lee.
Lot of things to talk about this month. Hud Bay proposed a hostile takeover of Augusta Resources, the parent company of Rosemont Copper, which is the controversial mine proposed south of Tucson. I know there's been some discussion in the newspapers, and Augusta has said they need to go back and analyze the offer. But you've been looking into Hud Bay a little bit, and what's your sense of that company, and who are they?
Hud Bay is a mid-tier copper zinc gold silver producer from up in central Canada. They have a historic activity in the Flin Flon region, which is on the Manitoba Saskatchewan border. In fact, it's kind of interesting when I look closely at a map to see that the province border runs right through some of their mill facilities, it looks like. Anyways, from those facilities, they've been producing recently in the rough order magnitude a couple $100 million of copper, a couple $100 million of zinc, and about $100 million of gold equivalent precious metals. They've also got some projects. They're building a major porphyry copper mine down in South America called Constancia.
Okay. Well, the last we heard from Augusta was that their board of directors was meeting. They've hired consultants to give them some advice on whether the offer is acceptable. I think most of the word we've heard from financial analysts is that they feel the bid is too low. And last week at the mining luncheon here in Tucson, some members of the Rosemont Copper uh, operation were saying, I think, to the group that they felt that the offer was probably too low and they expected Augusta to reject it. But it's probably going to be at least a couple more weeks before we hear any more word out of that.
Yeah, and we've seen some comments from analysts as well. And although that's the feeling, it's a pretty short list of others who may step up to increase that bid. Some other folks like Lundin and Capstone have already got expansions or acquisitions recently in their portfolio. And some of the majors, of course, are still divesting properties and projects.
Ah, good point. Well, I know there was some speculation that a few other companies might jump into the bidding war, but so far we haven't seen anything. So I think it may be a little kind of a wait and hold right now for everyone to see what happens as how Augusta responds to the Hud Bay offer and what Hud Bay does in return. But this is the big one out there on the table right now. But you've been following some other mergers and acquisitions in the mining industry around Arizona, right?
Yeah, we've got a couple other things we might be worth mentioning. We had American Bonanza shut down the Copperstone gold mine in the western part of the state last fall. And they certainly, by reviewing their financial statements, have a number of outstanding obligations they're in default on. And so there's been a proposed merger from Kerr Mines to acquire them. And it's interesting, at the same time, Kerr Mines from Canada is also merging with another company, another gold producer or potential gold producer. So it would strengthen their position as a gold producer, and they could bring some underground mining expertise to the project.
Okay, a lot in flux going on right now in the industry across Arizona. But we did get an advanced copy of the U.S. Geological Survey's Mineral Commodity Summary for 2013. It's been held up in final production, but they were kind enough to share production results for the U.S. For the states across the U.S. And how did Arizona do in 2013?
Well, we did pretty well. The preliminary numbers have us ranked second. We're, production values are down just slightly from 2012, largely due to the drop in the price of copper. And we didn't, Nevada continued to be number one. We didn't get as close as you and I might have thought, but we narrowed the gap by $1.5 billion.
Okay. Now this is for non-fuel minerals, so this is the hard rock minerals, sand and gravel, construction materials, but not things like coal. So I think the number that I saw was Arizona came in at about a little over 10% of all the non-fuel mineral production in the U.S. in 2013 with a value of $7,540 million, which is down just about a $500 million from 2012. And looks like Nevada came in at around $9 billion, so still ahead of Arizona, but dropping about $2 billion from the year before. And again, mainly, as you say, because of the drop of commodity prices. And for Nevada, that's driven by the price of gold.
Yeah, it's still interesting to see that just two states, Arizona and Nevada, produce over 22% of the nation's value of mineral production.
Boy, that's a good point. Almost a quarter just between Nevada and Arizona. That's impressive. Well, along those lines, we saw news that was quite exciting for Freeport-McMoRan Copper and Gold, based in Phoenix. They're now the #1 copper producer in the world, it sounds like.
Yeah, it seems like forever we've always heard of Codelco as being the world's largest copper producer, but Freeport, thanks to increased output from their mines in the Congo and in Indonesia, the Grasberg project, have ramped up to take that #1 spot.
And Codelco is the Chilean national mining company, correct?
That's correctly.
So they did 1.87 million tons, is what I understand, for Freeport this last year. They're still relying heavily, though, on their Arizona production.
Yeah, that base Arizona production is still important. And as we know, it's kind of slowed down, but they're still going forward on that expansion at Morenci, so their production could go up even more.
So even though the prices are down worldwide somewhat on copper, it's still been enough to keep the demand up, or maybe help push the demand a little bit higher with the lower price now. So is there any sense of how Freeport's going to do in the world market in this current year?
You know, I hear whining from a number of people about the price of copper, but it's really not serious complaining. We're still seeing that trading range in the $3.25 pounds, so $3.25 a pound. People are pretty happy about that, I would say. Not ecstatic like $4, but they're not losing money.
Okay, well, that's good news. All right. Well, Niall, it's been an exciting month. Thanks for giving us the update. A lot of things in play that we're going to be watching closely here over the coming weeks. So again, thanks for joining us, and we'll look forward to talking to you next month.
Yeah, there's some other mergers that have been started. We'll give some updates, follow up on some of those.
That sounds great. Thanks as always, Niall.
You're welcome.
Well, on Valentine's Day, February 14th, the mining community gathered here in Tucson for a Mining Appreciation Celebration Luncheon. And AMR was there to record some of the talks, some of the presentations. It was hosted by Rick Grinnell from the Southern Arizona Business Coalition. Mary Polton and I were each on the agenda, and so we've got a couple of film clips here showing the remarks we made at that celebration.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rick Grinnell, and I'm the Vice President of the Southern Arizona Business Coalition. On behalf of our partner organizations, the Amigos and Arizona Rock Rockets, and our friends with the Arizona Mining Association couldn't be with us today, but we do have Mr. Krishna. Where are you, Krishna? For the Executive Board of the Arizona Mining Association. Thank you for being here with us today. You know, we've been meeting for the last almost 2 years now, and the original Mining Alliance meeting was started by Steve Trussell and Senator Melvin, along with Sidney Hay. And we started our first meeting down in Granite Construction. About 25 people showed up, and to 35, to 55, to 105. Our last meeting, we were just about 200 people. And today we sold out in 48 hours over 300 seats. Thank you all for being here. Dr. Allison. Dr. Allison has been a very well respected, and he's a great asset to the state of Arizona and to our mining industry. Dr. Allison, all yours.
Thank you. This is a real honor to be in front of this group. I got 3 points I want to make today. One is we've heard from a number of speakers how much copper is produced in Arizona, as well as many, many other minerals. We have the numbers now for 2013 nationwide. So they have not been released publicly, but so you're going to be the first to hear this in the nation. Arizona was number 2 in the United States in mineral production, non-fuel mineral production, in 2013. We produced 10.16% of all the minerals produced in the country. The total value of just the production, not the added economic impact, was $7,540 million. The bad news is that's down almost $500 million from the year before. It's due to the dropping price of some key commodities. But we lead in copper, molybdenum, sand and gravel, cement, and crushed stone. Now, the number 1 state is still Nevada because of gold production. And so this year, they produced $9 billion in mineral production. That's down over $2 billion compared to the year before, even though they produced 400 or 500,000 ounces more of gold than the year before. So even though we dropped $500 million, it could have been a lot worse. So we're hanging in there, and I think that the future looks good. Second point I want to make is that recently there was a series of articles in Nature. This is one of the most prestigious scientific journals in the world. And they did a special issue on economic geology. And one of the articles talked about the demand for metals and minerals for our new economy, the new technological society and the renewable energy society that we're looking at. And they're saying that the demand right now for base metals is increasing 5% annually. They're being used in cell phones, in hybrid vehicles, in all kinds of high-tech applications. And if the present trend continues, we will need to produce more metal in the next 15 years than all humanity has produced since civilization began. Okay? So you need to get to work. Okay? So, and let me just quote, there's a couple of quotes here that I thought were worthwhile going after. So that's if just the current demand at 5%. But if we look at the demand for wind turbines, solar energy to meet the global energy production, which is projected by the Worldwide Fund for Nature to expand by what they expect by the year 2035, we're going to need 40 million tons of copper to support the renewable energy industry. And those numbers are just staggering. So they make the point, in addition, that, let's see, here we go. So that's the third point. The second point. The third point is we need to mine locally. I think many of you have heard of the concept of locavore, and I'll give you the quote. A locavore is a person interested in eating food that is locally produced, not moved long distances to market. The locavore movement in the United States and elsewhere spawned by an interest in sustainability and eco-consciousness. So they make the argument in this article, and I'm going to kind of build on that more metal production near centers of demand is what we need. We have to move our industry into the same venue that the locavore movement is moving. The green technologies need to incorporate domestic mining, which reduces the financial and environmental costs of transporting metals from far-flung sources, decreases the carbon footprint, providing jobs and wealth to the local community. And that's a quote from Nature on what we need to look for as a societal direction. So I'm going to argue that if you're a true environmentalist, you have to support local mining. So let me argue that you in this room are the new environmentalists. You are leading a fight for a more sustainable world by efficiently providing the resources we need for our new technological world. And by doing so, you're reducing the global environmental impacts and the carbon footprint, and you're transitioning us to a renewable energy future. The article makes a really significant point that we're moving in this new world towards renewable energy, where we're shifting to renewable energy by replacing a non-renewable resource of fossil fuels and moving to another non-renewable resource of minerals to support renewable energy. And to reduce the impacts of that, we have to work locally, mine locally. So, thank you for what you do for Arizona, for the nation, and for the environment. Thanks.
We also have another gem in our audience today. This lady has produced opportunities in an education program that is paralleled by none. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce you Dr. Mary Polk from the University of Arizona.
Well, thank you so much for allowing a humble professor to be in this august group today. That person couldn't make it, so you got me. So it's midterm exam time, and I've got a short answer test for you. If you get this wrong, the extra credit is really hard. So here it is, ready? Who's gonna win the basketball game tonight?
Wildcat.
I think the front part of the room got it. The back part, you're in big trouble, because extra credit is you have to spell molybdenite. I so appreciate seeing a group like this here today. When I joined the mining industry, copper was about 62 cents a pound, and when we went on field trips, we went to closed mines. When I became a faculty member, we were ecstatic that copper hit $1 a pound. And now you look at what this industry is doing today, and it's just phenomenal, the growth that we've seen. Our undergraduate enrollment is up to 112 students at the start of this semester. To put that in perspective, it wasn't that long ago we were at 19 students. And our intake of sophomores this year was 70. We filled up 50 students in our fall intro to mining class. We had to repeat the class this spring. We've got 20 students in that class. So that's 70 bright young students moving into this industry because they see great opportunity. They are young. I wore a favorite shirt to class the other day, and when I walked in, I realized my shirt was older than everybody in the room. So I'm wearing a newer shirt today. We've got a lot of really good things going on, thanks to all the supportive people in this room. And I just want to run a few things by you very quickly. Thanks to partnerships with AMA, ARPA, and Amigos, we're going to do our first statewide workshop April 4th in Phoenix on all the work that we're doing on environmental technologies for the mining industry. And I say all, it's actually just a tip of the iceberg to just give you a flavor of what we're doing, but it's a great opportunity of working together to showcase what we're doing, but to get feedback from our state and federal legislative staffs, state and federal regulators in the industries, because we're here to help all of you. And as you've heard from several talks today, you heard lawyer, you heard legal, you heard policy. I'm absolutely thrilled that our law college is now starting a center for mineral law, and they are 100% behind the collaboration working with us in mining engineering. So we hope finally we have a place in the United States that can look at mineral policy, and that we have a place in Arizona that can help support us in helping this industry achieve its great potential. We will be doing a briefing for all of the federal legislative staff in Arizona at the end of March, hopefully, and it's a great opportunity again for us to provide the basic information that can help inform our legislators, helping out the industry and the citizens here. There are so many things going on, and people are in my office constantly. I feel sometimes like I'm the mother confessor for the mining industry. People come in with a rock sample that they have found out hiking. Some inmates in Florence, feel free to contact me to ask about tunneling courses and blasting classes. We have a great online education program, but my husband, who spent his career in law enforcement, suggested that's not the audience. But there's a lot going on. We have our own underground mine, which some of you may or may not know about. It's down by Asarco's Mission Mine. So when you go down to Mission Mine, feel free to just go to the west side and visit our mine. We're having tours on Saturday. If you're interested, see me. It does require reservations, but we'd love to get you out there and see the facility. I just hired a new mine director who's got 30 years of experience in mine rescue. And one of the things we're going to be focusing on is providing more service in safety and mine emergency response to the industry. More I could say, but I know that you all see wine and beer, and of course you've got work to do this afternoon. So I'm going to thank you once again for all the support that you have provided us and our students. And I just hope I'm happier than a pig in slop right now. And so I hope this continues.
Well, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Arizona Mining Review. Our producer-director is Mike Conway, technical support from Ron Palmer. Our media arts intern is Jenna Fayville from the University of Arizona. Logo and set design from Stephanie Marr. Our editors are Rowena Davis and Jordan Maddy. We look forward to seeing you next month on Arizona Mining Review.